This question involves a rock being dropped from a cliff. And we have rock X, which is dropped near the surface of the Earth, which means that the gravitational acceleration is about 10 meters per second squared. We expect it to undergo free fall, which means its velocity will increase like so. Then we have rock Y, which we expect to behave exactly the same way, except that it's dropped at a moment later. There is no air resistance. The air resistance is negligible, which is typical for all questions, whether or not it says so. And we are asked to determine which graph of the vertical velocity of rock X is correct. And we're told that the positive direction is upward. So that might mean that this is X equals 0, and this might be like X equals 100. So positive direction is that direction. Next, we can see all of the graphs we are given are velocity time graphs. So to ascertain the information we can get from those, we'll do read. We can read velocity and time. The slope is delta V over delta T, which is the acceleration. So the slopes of these graphs is the acceleration. And the area is V delta T, which has units of meters per second times seconds. The final units being meters, which means it is delta X. So these are the things that we know. Now, for an object like rock X undergoing free fall, one of the things we know is that the acceleration is constant, and the acceleration is the slope. And since the positive direction is upward, the acceleration is minus 10. So we're looking for a slope of minus 10. Now, and we look at this first choice, the slope is changing. So it can't possibly be this first choice. This choice is a slope of minus 10, which is consistent. The third choice looks like it could support a slope of minus 10. And this last one shows a slope equal to 0, which means there is no acceleration. So that takes that one off the table right away. So now we're distinguishing between choices 2 and 3, and the clear difference is the y-intercept. Now, looking at where these graphs are located, if we look at the coordinate plane, these quadrants, we are looking at this quadrant for this choice and this quadrant for this choice, showing a velocity that starts at 0 and goes downward, proceeds negatively. And so this one, if we were reading off numbers, might be initial velocity of like 50 meters per second, and it decreases to a velocity of 0. Whereas this one starts out with a velocity of 0 and ends up with a velocity of like minus 50. So clearly, this is the correct choice.